And then they had Rey Mysterio against Dominic Mysterio. But by that point, I wrote, I just want to get this show over with. So you'll never guess at the finish, Zelina jumped Liv and Dom got crotched on the top rope when she bumped into it and Ray splashed him 1, 2, 3. All right, the one segment of the program, you saw the Bron Breakker segment, correct?
I think so. I don't remember. It's been days ago at this point.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Now you're stooging on us that we're late trying to catch people up on this. Sami Zayn and Bron Breakker. Sammy's promo in the Intercontinental title match against Braun, which I'm looking forward to seeing, actually, because I'll look forward to see Bron Breakker do anything. But Sammy also cut a hell of a promo. This was the highlight of the show here, this and this angle about to come up. In that he comes across like genuine, not like a lot of the other people, male or female, that are, reciting their verbiage or whatever, or just deer caught in headlights. He's talking to people. And he put Braun over, but he promised from a babyface, Brian, I am going to beat Bron Breakker at Money in the Bank. So I'm wondering about this. But anyway, Braun came out.
Because a babyface can't break their promise?
Well, you're not supposed to. But maybe they've relaxed those rules too these days. But Braun came out and he's a heel, but it's too soon for him to be foiled unless there's a real good reason, I think, that he basically said he was going to break the motherfucker in half and win the belt, but he didn't come out and just flat out swear on the dog-faced gremlin's life or whatever. But Braun sounds natural. He's not reading something. He's not reciting something. And it sounds like him talking. And so they really, because he got right in Sammy's face, said, you got no guts and no idea what you're in for. Right? And fucking Sammy said, you know how many times I've been broken in half and I get back up. I want you to try your best. That type of thing, right? But Braun was smirking at this little, weasel that's trying to talk big to him. But then when Sammy said, maybe you're not as smart as you think you are or as good, then Braun he did this perfectly with the facial. You see it. It goes from, smirking to, I want to kill you. And he goes to leave and then spun and speared him at 100 miles an hour. And got a big pop because it looked great because he's explosive, right? Just, what was it Gordon Solie used to say? He's not just quick, he's sudden. But then, as he's about to leave again, Braun, he's walking down the aisleway, but then he turns around and he sees Sammy's rolled out on the other side. And he gets that smirk again, and he does the deal where he runs around the ring, and they shot this from the air again. It's perfect. He runs around the ring for the spear, and this time Sammy leapfrogs him, and he runs into the fucking stairs, bam, and he fucks them up. And then Sammy gets on him, and they go in the ring. Sammy gives him the suplex, goes for the fucking kick, and runs right into a spear again. So we got a little fucking false finish there on that fucking deal, but still Braun ends up leaving Sammy down, tears his shirt off, picks up the fucking Intercontinental belt. This is how you make a goddamn star. Now we're watching it on TV every week. So maybe Tony should be watching another program instead of his own so he could figure out what's going on. But when all we've talked about on this program, Brian, since we've been doing it, is how to get somebody over, get a new exciting talent over, get a guy over as a fucking star. They could just watch this every week. This is what you do. It's not that hard. Well, you got to find a fucking Braun Steiner. Should we start hyphenating him Bron Breakker Steiner.
Nah, if they're not going to do it, I don't want to waste my time. They should have done it, especially when you see that documentary and they say Bronson Steiner. There's the name.
But it's going to happen sooner or later.
You think it's going to happen at this point with him on the main roster already using the name Bron Breakker? I don't think it is.
Well, I don't know. Well, maybe like Roman Reigns, you know. He was, you know, an Anawahi, but
it's so stupid because all you want is some guy who has not watched wrestling in years to turn on the TV and hear the name Steiner and wonder, is that one of their kids? And get interested. Instead, they gave him a brand new name. So if you were a Steiner Brothers fan who doesn't watch wrestling anymore and you bumped into him, you'd have no idea.
Well, but if you're a fan of people named Breaker,
I don't know
then
if
you
I've
would
ever met
instantly
anyone.
be intrigued.
I don't think I've ever met anyone with the last name Breakker.
Well, you ought to meet more people.
Have you met anyone named Breakker?
I don't want to meet people.
Breakker
See,
19?
you proved my point. But anyway,
I just wish he was on SmackDown. I just wish he was on SmackDown. See, that's the problem now. The Uncle Howdy stuff taints this show.
DVR the program, so and just zip through for the Bron Breakker.
So this is when I miss like the old days of tape trading. I would just order a custom tape from someone. Just can you record the best stuff and send it to me?
Hey, I would get the best of AWA TVs from Norman Dooley, and it would literally be 3 matches for like a 5-month period, 3 matches, and all the rest was the interviews. But anyway,
sounds about right. It sounds about right.
Otherwise, the Money in the Bank qualifier was Drew and Ilya and Sheamus, and Drew won. And there was 2 commercial breaks in this, and it didn't take up 15 minutes of airtime in total, so there wasn't much of the match on the TV. That was Raw.